Hey everyone, my name is Laura Olson, and I'm super excited to be talking to you today about your global serving trips. I have been participating on global serving teams since I was little. It is part of who I am. Family vacations were were essentially serving trips, and so I'm super excited just about the things that we're going to talk about. Currently, I'm on staff at Willow Creek Church, and I oversee all of the global serving trips that are offered here at our church, which is about 60 trips a year going to 14 different countries. At Willow, we say that there are three things that we hope to do with our global serving trips, whether it's your first trip or your 20th trip. The first thing is that we want to witness God's work around the world. Notice how I say witness and that we're not bringing Jesus because Jesus is already there, right? Second thing is that we want to serve alongside local churches. Again, notice that word alongside. This is because local churches are already serving their communities through their daily ministry. They don't need us to do it for them, but what a beautiful picture when we get to serve together and we get to see the Big C church. The third thing that we do is grow in our faith. This is the big one. To me, when I see each and every trip as an opportunity to learn more about Jesus and grow, this is where my life is transformed. You'll hear me say over and over about how these trips are a discipleship experience. And if we let this shape our view, even the tiniest of logistics, it will allow us to be more present and allow God to work in us individually and as a team. Over the years, I've accumulated a bunch of resources for serving trips, and one of them is a pretty outdated devotional book, but I use it on almost every trip that I go on. One of these lessons that I'd like to share with you is called Which is Better, a Vacuum Cleaner or a Broom? So listen up. Most Americans are great workers and put a high priority on value on doing a task with the utmost efficiency. Remember the hardworking stereotype? There's an old adage that one doesn't play until the work is done. Most Americans actually enjoy getting the job done, and the faster the better. Let's look at an example from our culture. The floor is dirty. The smartest, easiest, and most efficient method of cleaning the floor has been invented, the vacuum cleaner. Every year, there are newer and better vacuum cleaners on the market. The new ones are lighter, have more suction, and now have directional lights, all to clean your carpets easier, faster, and more efficiently. This is important to us. Investing in a product to do the job quicker and better than the old method is a no-brainer. Now let's consider the people in the country where your team is going. Possibly for thousands of years, the floors have been cleaned in the same way, with a broom. No one's complaining. No one seems to be looking for a better method. Would anyone in these countries want the vacuum cleaner that was just described? Maybe not. The broom users are happy to sweep and may choose to spend time talking with a friend who just dropped by while they are sweeping. Efficiency may have never crossed their minds. Many cultures value their relationships higher than anything else and put little value in doing a task most efficiently. If we are to be servants with humility and the love of Christ, we need to show openness and acceptance to the way of life of our hosts. When it comes to doing a task, you may be tempted to think and act more like an American than a Christian. When you're tempted to ask the typical American question, how can this job be done better or faster, you need to stop and remind yourself that this culture is operating with different values and that your question might be inappropriate or even disrespectful. So there's a couple things to learn and really reiterate here. Many cultures, especially Latin American cultures where some of your teams are going, value relationships over everything else. And also, how can we make sure that we're being culturally sensitive and remembering that we're there to serve alongside and encourage the good work that is already happening? Work projects are simply not going to be done in a way that we would consider efficient, but how will we respond in that? Let's talk about relationships because I want to address social media just a bit. If we're honest with ourselves, how many of our relationships with friends or even family are simply just maintained because of social media or text messages? And believe me, in some respects, social media has allowed us to have so many relationships because it takes less time and allows us to cast our net wide instead of deep, which is in some respects great. But for other cultures, this would not even qualify as a relationship. Being in a relationship means quality time and doing life together. When we become Facebook friends or Instagram followers, we feel great. But to other cultures, that simply does not satisfy and can be really disappointing. With social media, be mindful for how you are setting expectations for what relationships are and aren't. But also be mindful about how you are bringing dignity to the people that you meet. When we take pictures of people's homes, walls of cardboard and dirt floors, and then put it on display in a sea of pictures on our social media pages, mixed with our own material possessions or resort vacations, what does that say about who we are? Does it bring dignity to those people and accurately show how we feel about them? In summary, can I challenge you all to ask yourself some questions? 1, when I take a picture, what will the people who live there think I am going to do with it? And then what am I actually going to do with it? 2, when I become Facebook friends with somebody, what is that relationship realistically going to look like? And what can I do that will be more helpful than hurtful in this? And then 3, when I think of something that can be done better, faster, or smarter, what will I do? When you answer these questions, is it allowing you to witness God's work around the world or show off your work? Are you serving with or for? And what is God teaching you? How is this really going to allow you to grow in your faith?